Hello, Mike Bradley. Hope you're doing well as always. And today I'm with the legend. Oh, sorry.
A second, I'm going to wear my other hat because I realized I like this one better. I've done it.
It's all about looking good for the women, Tim. We don't do this for the men.
Yeah. Here's to more women.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think my demographic is like 97% men.
Exactly the same here, yeah.
But
we're all in that. It's, yeah.
We are part of that demographic. Hello, Mike Bradley. I hope you are doing well as always. And today I'm with the legend himself, the man with all the hats, Mr. Tim Pierce.
Hey, everybody.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing
I know
good.
we've been chatting for like an hour or so catching up, but we can do it in front of the camera now. So NAMM's just finished.
It was great. We had a great time. It's a small NAMM these days, but we make it big because we're all there. It's so nice seeing all these great people. I met some new YouTubers, and some older YouTubers, and some of my favorite gear makers. It was wonderful. I recommend it, everybody.
It was good. It was nice being smaller and you can actually hear. I mean, my voice has gone a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think if it was like 3 years ago, it would be even more.
Yeah, what happens is it raises the importance of the smaller vendors.
Sure.
You know, that's the good thing about it. I mean, you miss that Gibson's not there, the vendor's not there, the PRS isn't there, the boss isn't there.
Yeah.
The list goes on. But the vendors that are there are more important and more valuable. So it kind of works.
Yeah,
it really does. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, as I was at lovely Tim's home, I thought it'd be good to dive inside your mind. I mean, it could be a bit of a jungle in there.
Snakes. Ask my wife. That's
absolutely,
snakes.
Right? I will. But certainly as a player, because obviously we all know he's an amazing player and whatnot. But you know, we're all the same when we're working on it, and there's stuff which are just, you'll see X, Y, or Z players like, what the hell are you doing, so to speak? And you try, and you know, how the stuff you can do is great, but is there anything you're working on particular which is bugging the beep out of you, shall we say? You know, or you've been working on for years, so to speak, you know.
The thing I wish I could do better is finger picking.
Oh, okay.
Because you're a studio musician, people assume that you can do everything.
Right,
and
of course, yeah.
Right, he can do that. He can come in. But I'm not great at like James Taylor style or John Mayer style finger picking.
Yeah.
And that I would like to get better at. And I've really actually tried to work on it, and it comes very slowly. I'm going to keep trying because I love the sound of it.
Yeah.
Even especially on an electric guitar, like you get so much expression from your fingers on an electric guitar, even more than acoustic. So that's a goal of mine, is to get better at right-hand finger picking without a pick. And I've even gotten these larger picks because I love the way some of our friends, when they're picking, they just tuck.
Yeah. See, this is real life here, kids.
So you pick and then you tuck. And then you can.
I'm one of those guys. Yeah, I will say I'm one. I think I remember years ago seeing Robin Ford do that. That's what got me into it. And I do like using the fingers and hybrid picking as well. So that's really interesting.
Well, I can do a little hybrid picking, but I really want to get better with all the fingers. You know,
especially the country guys as well, isn't it? That kind of there's a pop. You know,
absolutely, and that's the expression you get from the pads of these fingers is amazing. From clean to dirty, it's the best. It really is.
Oh, for sure. You know. So, is there anything in particular you've done to work on that, or is it like us just sitting in front of the TV?
Yeah, just do it. I'll create a video where I'm actually having to use my fingers, and that's the best way because then I have to rise to the occasion. I'll actually do a solo or a rhythm part with my fingers and have to perfect it. So I've always benefited from on-the-job training. When I first moved to LA, I was obsessed with lead guitar, and I wasn't that good at rhythm, and I would just get gigs and kind of learn to play rhythm as I was being paid, you know. So on-the-job training is great. If you are a musician and you don't know how to do something, you can fake it.
Oh, I've been faking it for 38 years, Tim. That's life in general. Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, and all the little, you know, when you think of pedals and stuff like that, you know, there's so many tonal variants you can get from those 6 strings and the guitar. Absolutely. You know, and you know, you I've heard guys mimicking like a wah without using a wah. You know, and you know, like was it turn on the bridge pick up on a Strat and someone turned the tone.
Well, and Jeff Beck is the greatest example of that. Just all fingers.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
and all the tones coming from maybe one pedal, volume knob, That's the thing I learned recently. I'm actually working on a video now that if you take a fuzz and it's the right fuzz and you turn down to 9, you have the best clean sound in the world.
It's so funny, because I remember being younger and not being a massive fuzz fan of the fuzz, because we love Hendrix, but sometimes you hear it and you're like, oh good God, it's a bit of a noise, isn't it? You know?
Right.
But if you find there's different types of fuzz pedals, and certain ones are just the best clean sounds, like you just said. There's a couple I've got. One, I don't know if you've heard of Isle of Tone.
No.
They've got a Haze 67, it's called, and it looks like the big old ones, which is incredible. And there's the pedal porn fuzz. You heard of pedal porn?
Yeah, I have one, but it's not functioning right now. So I sort of have emailed Chris. I'm gonna have to get another one from him.
Hi, Chris. He's a nice. He probably loved the fact we're talking about that right now. Look at that free advertising, Chris. You swine. That wasn't planned.
That's a really well-regarded fuzz, isn't it?
He sent me one. Oh, good Lord, probably a good 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And lately I've just started using it again more. And like you just said, there's a few fuzzes out there which just clean up and you just leave it on.
Yeah,
right.
Always on.
They can be bloody noisy though.
Yeah.
You need a good power supply or something. But it's amazing, isn't it? How a sound can just take you somewhere else, and it would transform your playing. If you're used to using a Nobles or something, isn't it?
Well, you always, as a guitar player, you play to the sound, so your part has to be appropriate for the sound you're using. And in that measure, the sound can actually create the part in the music, because it pushes, like, you do what serves that sound the best, basically. And so you create the part that sounds best with the fuzz turned all the way up, or the delay, or the reverb. And you would do something totally different if it were dry. So yeah.
Absolutely. Was there ever, back in the heyday on sessions and stuff, was there ever times, I'm sure I know the answer to this already, but I want to ask you, where you're like, this sounds shit, or no, I'm not happy what I'm doing, and then you feel the eyeballs? Was there many of those situations?
Yeah, you have to read the room, and sometimes people, they respond to something that's very different on a quality level than you think is the right thing. And you can't fight them on it, because if you end up fighting them all day, it's kind of a bummer. So you really have to, they might like something that sounds lo-fi. And in fact, one of the reasons I actually worked as much as I did is that I was the guy who could sound like the less polished player. I could sound more like the band guy. And not like because in LA in the 80s, the studio guitar players became very polished.
Right.
And I could sound more like I was in the band. So when Nirvana showed up in 1993, there was a big changing of the guard. I was actually in the right place at the right time, because I was the guy who could sort of sound like the teenage player, or the the less polished player. And so I started working all the time because of that, and because I would use a head and I'd be in mono. I didn't always use my rack. I had the big rack with all the effects and everything. But no, you're right. It's shocking sometimes and then there were certain producers that really wanted me to sound, it's not bad, but just lo-fi. Let's call it that.
Did they ever ask you to do some fingerstyle stuff?
Yes, I did. And I would do it. I would fake it. But man, I know guys who can really do it.
Yeah. Oh man, it's when you Tommy Emmanuel, for example, you sit and it's just like, good Lord, or even could you think of, when you mentioned Jeff Beck, it's like, if you want a fast pick thing or something, which is always hard to do anyway. But you see, what's the flamingo? Paco. He had 5 picks.
Yeah. That's what I want.
It's
amazing.
I remember seeing Richie Kotzen, and he doesn't use a pick anymore, and you wouldn't know it.
Right.
He's sweeping with his thumb or something like that now.
I didn't know that. Yeah, I respect him for that. It can kind of happen with age too. The older players can kind of go into that. Maybe that's where I'm headed too. We'll see.
You could be the finger picking Tim Pearson a few times. You never know. You pretty much PRS died now, would you say, or
no? It's a season that has probably some, like my PRS season has definitely been the last 10 years. But now it's going to diminish a little bit, I think.
Right.
Paul is just a friend. I mean, we are friends.
It's relationships.
Yeah,
that's the main thing.
And they've solved a lot of problems for me. I like the way they sound. I like how they stay in tune. I like the way they look.
Yeah.
But now it's all going to shift. And it's okay with him. We've had our season, basically.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Where are you feeling next?
I actually buy Les Pauls now.
Oh, lovely.
And it's a particular Les Paul that I buy. And I also am going to start playing Strats again. And they'll be boutique Strats.
Yeah.
But, like I just got this. Bought it on Reverb.
Fine, that's beautiful.
It has a skinny neck. It's chambered, so it's 7 pounds, 11 ounces.
Oh, wow.
And all the, so it's...
Can I have a go? Is that right?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Let's have a go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's got very light strings. I don't know. I just got it.
Oh, okay.
These are the strings that were on it when I bought it. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. I don't even know. That's the first time it's been plugged in. I got it like a week ago.
Oh, okay. Oh.
But part of the reason is my hands are small, and the shorter Gibson scale is more comfortable. It could sound terrible. It might need new pickups. Like I say, this is the first I've heard it. I haven't heard it yet, so I just got it.
It is quite a skinny neck, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, still out, yeah. I think the strings a bit need stretching. Certainly hear the difference though between
yeah, that one doesn't sound great, but I can make it better with new pickups. It's actually not an expensive Les Paul, and I think it's from 2017.
Oh, okay.
So the pickups are probably not the best pickups.
Burst backwards or something.
Okay, let me do something. Let me give you one that sounds good. Now,
good top though.
Tune that one. This one sounds good. And this is 7 pounds, 13 ounces.
Oh, wow.
And it's not weight relieved, it's just got a light body.
That's a good looking guitar, isn't it?
Thank you.
Oh, I like this neck. Yeah, I prefer the neck on this one.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of too skinny.
Yeah.
I always find a lot of these Gibsons that the ink, doesn't it, bleed into the binding, doesn't it?
Yeah. They're not the best made guitar. Good enough, I mean.
Oh yeah.
Okay, then let me give you another one. This is probably the best sounding one. This is a Murphy Lab.
Oh.
And I bought this at Sweetwater. And this really sounds like the Telly on steroids.
Right.
This sounds really good. Heavier.
Oh, look at that. Nice.
Yeah. But I'm just going to try a bunch of different guitars now. My PRS season is going to diminish.
I like that you call it a season.
Yeah,
I think that's great. Oh, that sounds like a Les Paul, doesn't it?
Yeah. That's why I bought it. I heard that and went, oh, that sounds like all the records.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's got a lovely snarl to it. It looks great as well.
Great too,
Oh, look at the checking. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Murphy Lab, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
No, this is nice, yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. How do you like?
still recording? I even forgot that I was recording.
So you can use these bits if you want.
I like that one. Yeah. How long you had this one for?
A year. I got it at Sweetwater a year ago. So yeah, my obsession with Les Pauls. I've had Les Pauls all my whole life, but these are my three new ones.
So that's your right hand, and then left hand, has that always been all right?
No, I like the sound of left hand speed. Like all my speed comes from hammer-ons and pull-offs in my left hand. Yeah. I like the sound of that regardless, but I would like to be able to pick faster. And my little finger's a little weak. Right. Now Phil X will admit that too, and he does this exercise where he removes the index finger and he does everything with these three fingers.
Okay. Oh.
And it's a good exercise.
Yeah.
Anyway,
see, it looks weird.
It looks weird. Feels
absolutely,
weird.
Yeah, you know.
So keeping the little finger strong, keeping the hand strong. I'm okay with the left hand. I mean, certainly I'm a classic player. My love of music comes from Top 40 radio in the 60s and songs more than guitar playing. So I am, I will always be baked in with the DNA of Hendrix, Clapton, Johnny Winter, Billy Gibbons, Jimmy Page. You move forward to today and you have guys like Tosin Abasi and Tim Henson. I'll never be one of those guys, but I definitely represent my era. It's classic playing.
Well, you just said something which is kind of worry sometimes. You just said about good songs, and I kind of, you'll see, especially in the world of Instagram, YouTube, that kind of stuff, some phenomenal guitar players, but I'm just thinking, where's the song? Because it's almost like now that people release songs for an excuse to do a guitar solo.
Yeah.
And I remember, not to plug my own stuff here, when I put some music out in the past, and guys would say, "Oh, where's the guitar solo?" I'm like, "Well, the song didn't call for it," And sometimes you don't need a guitar solo, and that's how you learn chords, for example. That's as much as we were the same when we were kids, we want to blaze, but as you get older and you hear these beautiful, like you hear Mateus play or something, it's like these amazing chords, and it's like that's where it's at, and then you can use those chords to then help your solo kind of playing,
Well, hopefully that'll come back, because when I grew up, the band had a singer and the band had songs, and then the guitar player was the featured instrumentalist. That's what I loved the most, because there was always a context for it, and you always wanted more from the guitar player. The problem with sometimes a guitarist going out to do their instrumental music, if you listen to the first three songs, sometimes you've heard everything they could possibly do in their whole life in those first three songs. Where do they go from there? But if there's a great song, first of all, we like it, our girlfriends like it, our wives like it. It's just the scope of it is much bigger. So I'm hoping it comes back. That there's some band that lights up the world that has the songs and the guitar solos. And that it's because it's context.
Well, and you just said bands. There's not. I mean, I can't think of a lot. I don't know what it's like over here. Obviously, you've got different many different radio stations. But like the Arctic Monkeys, are they over here? I mean, I think in England that's like 2005. And it's getting harder now for bands to kind of break through.
It's the economics of it too. The fact that it's so expensive to travel and keeping people together and having a reason for them to stay together. These are all difficult things in this time. So we'll just see. I'm okay with the way things are now, but definitely I would like to see an emphasis on songs. If you do look at Instagram, you go, where's the context? Where is the music? And for me, if I hear a guitar player show me that virtuosity on Instagram, I tend not to go back.
Right.
Because once you've heard it, it's like, okay, I heard that, but I'd rather be transported by somebody's voice, lyrics, emotion, like a mood, like I'm in a movie or whatever. If that makes me old, then that makes me old.
Not at all. It makes you great, I think. It's how it should be. I mean, even when I was saying about what you're working on, I imagine even when you were younger, I mean, do you read at all? Can you read music?
Not really. Chord charts, which was fine for the work I did in the studio. I have friends who do movies and television. They have to sight read, but I did records, and so I just needed chord. And I learned to read a figure here and there. I could memorize, but mostly chord charts.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's like the Nashville number system. Simple. in the studio, you are required to get stuff immediately, but you pretty much you do a takedown, one takedown of a song, and you have the chord chart, and then you know what to do, and then you start playing.
I just always images, especially in the heyday, of just sheets of music.
Well, the heyday, if you're talking about the '60s, yes, the Wrecking
Crew.
Oh,
of course, the Wrecking Crew,
But when I started to get busy in the '90s, like I did studio work in the '80s, and that was not a lot of reading. Records didn't require reading. It was more, a chord chart and then the sounds and the parts.
Well, that's great, because then I imagine you were feeling fulfilled as well.
Well, the great thing about it is if you're not reading, then you're actually creating the part. You're writing the part. And if you're reading the part, somebody else created it. So it's better. It's better to create.
Well, it's like Edge of 17. That riff there, I think I remember reading Roddy just kept da-da-da-da-da. But I remember reading that thinking, you poor bugger, you got to do that at a gig. That is a hot, you know what I mean? Keeping that constant 16th thing. But that's what what the part needed. And but I imagine, that's great that he was able to get that creative juicy.
And that's what people wanted. They wanted you to orchestrate the guitar. And you had asked me what made me angry as a guitar player. There is one thing I would like to talk about.
Please,
and it kind of pertains to that, what we're just talking about. Because at a certain point in music, people wanted to pay you a fee per song. So, and let's say they were being generous in their minds and going, okay, we're going to pay each musician $200 per song. Now, the bass player and drummer could do 3 songs in an hour and basically spend most of the time drinking coffee, laughing, and listening to playback. Right. Bass and drums are first take instruments.
Yes.
They are.
Yeah.
The good people we know can get it in the first take, maybe a second take for interpretation. But guitar is this exploratory thing. For me to play on one song, I'm actually playing 8 songs because I'm playing a part in the verse. That part continues to the chorus. I double it in the chorus. I add 2 more parts in the chorus. I add acoustics. I add a whole new scene change in the bridge. I do stuff on the outro. It's basically orchestration. And every song on guitar is like doing 8 songs. And it was just really hard to explain to people that even if we cut one song and the bass player and drummer sit there and drink coffee for the whole hour, I cannot finish that song in 1 hour. So it take me 2 hours to finish that one song. And they can be done with 6 songs by then. So I never, I'd always try and teach people that it's a whole different ball game, but they still had a hard time getting it. And it was a frustrating thing. And that's why I like doing overdubs, because I can charge by the hour, and that's the thing. People really would like to pay by the song because it makes them feel more secure. They know how much they're going to spend. But guitar is exploratory. It's orchestration. And it takes a lot of time to fill a song with the best guitar parts and the best sounds. Now, if you're just putting down a U2 part that you played on yesterday's song, that's one thing. But I always tried to go deeper than that and give them something that was unique and didn't sound like I had just manufactured it, and that takes time. So that was my biggest complaint. So I always try and teach people that it's a different thing.
Yeah. Well, I can imagine if you're getting, a singer-songwriter and they're like, okay, I wrote this amazing song, and it's G, D, and C, and then all the way through they might go to C and D for a bridge, and then the chorus is back to G, D, and C, and then whatnot. So is your mind then just working 101 miles an hour, thinking, okay, what can we do to make this pop?
It is, and the bass player and drummer are just doing their thing.
They're just sitting there.
They're done, and then the artist looks at you and goes, "Okay, make my song amazing."
Yeah, God,
give me all those little colors. And that big thing, and then how about some mandolin and some 12-string and some high strung, and how about some ambient parts? And we'll go to lunch, and then you'll do the tremolo parts and the ambient parts. And then we'll use some of those. I mean, it's I've heard other people talk about that too. It's open-ended, the guitar thing. Yes. That's what I love about it. I mean, I can take parts from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and I can install them. It's a huge palette of sounds, parts, ideas, concepts, and you can draw from all of it, but that makes the job bigger,
Oh, man. You need to write a book, Tim.
Okay, I had a friend yesterday.
You need to.
So what you do is you write the book, but you don't put it out until after you die.
Right, that's what Jimmy Page is doing.
Is he really?
Yeah, he said he's gonna. I think he might have written it already, or might be in the process. Because he's like, it's going to come out when I die.
Yeah.
And it's like, I wonder. We've all heard stories on Jimmy, you know, so...
the way to do it. It really is the way to do it.
Yeah, well, I hope that's not
Give me 30 years.
Yeah, I hope that's not for a bloody long time, you know, but I'll be an old man looking forward to rocking in a chair.
Yeah, if I wrote a book, I'd be too nice to people, you know.
Well, you're the nicest man in the business, surely, you know, so... but I know this is so fascinating to hear, you know, and you know, I'm been an admirer of all that stuff. Like I mentioned to you earlier, you know, I think I'm the age of the last generation of before the internet, so to speak. You know, so you know, I would look at records and look at the booklets, and you know, I'd see all the top lists of session guys, and you know, your name will always be there as well. And it's like, so just imagine what it was like, you know, like okay, I'll go over to the studio now and go
amazing.
This, and
it was amazing.
It sounds just a truly amazing time, you know,
it was
and
amazing.
You know, so it's good to hear it firsthand from a cat who was there, man. You know,
I remember one day I had this friend come from Canada, and I was talking to him, and I was just recounting the day before, and I said, yeah, yesterday I did a Home Depot commercial in the morning, and then I went and did the television show CSI. About 1 in the afternoon. My friend scored that. And then my third session that day was for the producer Babyface, and you know, the actor Jamie Foxx was doing a record. And so I was in Hollywood, and I went to 3 different locations. They all just went boop, boop, boop.
Wow.
And the guy looked at me like, what? You did all that in one day? A commercial, a TV show, and a record in one day? I was like, yeah.
Have you got different, you must have 3 lots of gear then?
There were 2 lots. I had one that I would carry in my car. So the commercial was all the cartage, the big rig.
Right.
And then the second one was a little rig I carried in my car, which went into a home studio for CSI.
Right,
and then the third one went to the Babyface session. So there was a staggered, they had time to get it to the third session.
Right, especially the traffic here. I mean,
Luckily they were all in LA proper, in Hollywood.
Got
it's an issue. It's definitely an issue.
So with the CSI, like even that, they're just asking for you, nothing written, or do they hum lines?
No, it was just more soundscape kind of stuff, and more colors. You know, that's the easiest thing. If you're doing a television show or a movie, it's so pleasurable to see the scene in front of you, hear the music, and paint,
you get to amazing
paint basically over it. It's so satisfying.
Yeah.
And you might be seeing, you know, Denzel Washington or anybody. It could be Robert De Niro. It could be anybody. Or think of somebody new. You know, anybody. And it's amazing to watch the footage and see the actors and play along.
And then you can. Yeah. It's almost like being an actor in a way, isn't it? Then kind of feeding off. Their emotions, so to speak.
It's wonderful. But most movie scores are reading, pretty much 100% reading.
Yeah, it's like I've got some friends who do like theatre work, pit work.
It's 100% reading,
And that just scares them. Like, every good boy deserves food, you know.
That's not me, that I can't fake. That you have to say no when they call you.
I bet,
You have to say no. You know, you can't show up and not be able to do that gig.
No.
You cannot fake sight reading.
No, that's a language, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know, it's about to.
You don't want to be in that position where you're the guy who goes.
A minute, let me just F8 bass. Right, okay, you know, is that a quarter note or a quaver or something?
I mean, I'll tell you, in the 90s, I used to say yes to some of those sessions.
Oh, really?
I was sitting with a 90-piece orchestra once, and the composer was at the podium way far away.
Right.
And he said, and I was guitar 2. Luckily, guitar 1 was a sight reader named George Deering. No, maybe it was Michael Thompson. Anyway, I don't remember. Anyway, he's great.
Phenomenal.
Anyway, the composer said, guitar 2, play me your part of R81 in front of 90 of the best sight readers in the world. And luckily, I had shedded, because I didn't have much to play, and it was literally like, and so I played it for him and he went, okay. Luckily, it was a very simple guitar.
Did you get it beforehand, or was it on the day?
You show up and it's sitting there, and you go, "Oh my god!" Shit. And then so you try. You can't be that guy. So after that happened, I would turn those sessions down. It would kind of break my heart a little bit to turn them down, but
Well, it's money, isn't it?
Be that guy. Yeah, but it's just you can't be that guy.
Well,
or girl, or
no, because it will easily just get around, wouldn't it? It's like, oh no, Tim, he balls it up or whatever. Like
well, in the moment, you're letting all them down, but you're also putting yourself in a position of, frankly, being humiliated by the fact that you don't have the skill that you're supposed to have. So yeah, you can't do it.
No, I've had it once because when I started lessons, I remember my teacher I'd heard something about tab, and Alan, my old teacher, God bless him, he was a very old school jazz guy, and it's like tab is like looking at the wall, it's like it's just pointless. And he taught me, I'd go in for a lesson and he'll give, I think Titanic just came out, and so I'm reading that kind of thing, So I had a very limited, but it was all kind of around that part of the neck, and like the C major scale and stuff like that. And I remember once doing a little kind of, again, singer-songwriter recording session thing, and the guy gave me some music, and I just thought I could feel the sweat start coming, and you're kind of going back to when you're 12, 13, and I think I just blagged it, because then I was able to, well, do you want to try this? Again, half of the time being a musician is being a blagger, isn't it? And it's, that's a good idea. I'm like, gonna go that way. So I do admire though the guys who can just. Who was Tommy Tedesco, wasn't he? He was the legend of it. And
we have a lot of those guys here in LA, and they're brilliant. And it's literally the same as looking at a magazine and just reading the words. It's no difference. They just they just read everything.
I think as well, a lot of those guys, I may be mistaken, but I'm assuming if you can play piano, because obviously that's all read, isn't it? So I can imagine that helps a little bit, Reading on a guitar is tricky. It's not, piano is just A to A, isn't it, And,
but here you have A, here.
Exactly.
Yeah, everywhere. So,
and they're all different tonal sounds and things like that, But this is good, I feel I'm getting inside your mind.
You are. You're in. Definitely.
Jesus, you better shut some doors just in case, kind of thing, But no, honestly, man, it's so good to. It'd be good to. Like I say, I'm gonna try and coax Tim to have a little jam over a backing track or something, I will put a link below, if you're not aware. Tim's got an amazing masterclass online with.
Thanks so much.
God knows how many hours you got on there.
It's a big. Check it out. It's 2 weeks for free if you want, and it's 150 hours, 1,800 videos. So
that will keep you busy on a Sunday afternoon, wouldn't it? So I'll put a link below. Do check it out, because the stuff you can learn from this amazing giant of a musician is incredible. So I'll certainly be checking it out. That's for sure. But should we make a bit of noise?
Let's do it.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. See you in the next scene. What amp are you going? The basement, is it?
I'm going through this. One of my favorite amps is this. It's a ancient Marshall PA head.
Oh, lovely. What a great tone.
Okay, you're still showing.
I am, yeah.
Okay, here we go.
One take, Tim.
Get one that you like.
Yeah, we do a couple, and then it's usually the first one, isn't it?
Well, yes, with complications.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it can often be the first.
Oh, sorry, the volume in it. That's it.
Okay. awesome.
That was alright. I'll do one more.
Yeah. I'll keep it just for.
Yeah, at the beginning I did a few boo-boos.
You can do as many more as you want, but one more is fine.
Yeah, it definitely makes you think, this one.
Yeah, and but you solved it.
Yeah, like you say, you can just do E, but
I mean, that's the thing. When I hear you play blues in E major, it covers the whole thing.
Sure,
it makes
yeah.
me feel like I should have done the same thing, because then you start thinking about A major and all that, and then.
Yeah,
right.
but I like the.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I like it when you got a.
But you could basically be Stevie Ray Vaughan in a major key and the whole rest of it. That's
pretty much, yeah.
Exactly. Oh, I'm sorry. I did it wrong. Let me do it right.
Oh, is that delay gone?
Yeah, but it'll be back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry. So I did it wrong.
Echo Boy. Oh, that's what you. Oh, nice.
Yeah, I love Echo Boy. Are you working? Yeah, is it on?
Okay, oh, there we go. Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, cool. Cheers, man. Somewhere in there. Somewhere in there we got it, haven't we?
That was great. I actually was peeing and I could hear every note.
Oh, really?
It was great. Awesome, man.
I'll take that. I'll get that on a t-shirt.
I'm going to give you all three of them.
Cool, excellent, yeah. It'd be good to have them back. Just getting, I was adjusting to, could I use 11s on these short scales?
Oh, man.
I'm left-handed, but play obviously right. So it always takes me a minute to like, oh, there we go.
I see now, the way you had so much strength, but then you were probably in danger of like overbending.
Overbending, yeah, I had to think, yeah.
Use 11s on the short. Oh,
oh yeah, could I use 10s? Like, I grew up on Strats and Fender type guitars. So and when I got my first Les Paul, I was about 19, and it took me a long time to adjust. And then I remember again, this was probably just before YouTube and stuff. So I remember reading something about a short scale length on a Gibson. I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I just put 11s on it, and it's like, oh right, I love it. So any kind of Gibson style scale length, I'll use 11s on, and 10s on kind of Fender type, and 12s acoustic, you know. Gibson's such a great looking guitar. Not only does it sound good, it's something about a black guitar, isn't there? You know?
Yeah, I've kind of they've won me over as far as like. Yeah, if I get on stage, black guitars.